This is Double O Direct. I'll tell you for free that if you've ever considered starting a business or wanted to know how you can get the funding to grow your existing business, then this is the conversation for you. Because joining me are two phenomenal women, powerhouses. One day someone will say Double O is a powerhouse. You know, she really is. Yeah, powerhouses. Patricia, Okelo, and Marianne. Nyangi, ladies, welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Olivia.
I could see you the whole time smiling, laughing, wanting to contribute to my, my little bit of chit chat that I was having right there. No, but it's the truth, isn't it?
It is.
Patricia, kindly introduce yourself. Tell me more.
Thank you, first of all, Olivia, for having us. And you are a powerhouse, just by being a woman.
Oh, yeah. I should have known that from the start. Yeah.
So my name is Patricia Okelo. I call myself an accidental entrepreneur because it's not a journey that I planned to go on. It's just circumstances of, life and wifedom and motherhood that put me on this journey. But it's something that I really, truly love to do. And now I have become an advocate for all women who are trying to juggle a lot to go into business. So that's a little bit about myself.
If we can delve into your upbringing and maybe circumstances that led you to this path, just up to your, let's say, university days, just to understand how it was for Patricia as a young girl.
Yeah, you know how we hate talking about ourselves as women, right?
Who are these women? Wait. Just pause. Who are these women who hate talking about themselves? It is my number one pastime. No, but just kidding. I know. I'm an outlier. Continue.
So yes, Patricia was born and bred in Nairobi. I'm a Nairobi girl. Went to school here and high school in Kibera, which is more Nairobi girls, actually.
Okay.
And then did my university at KU. I studied fine art, and my major was in graphic design. Yep, that's what I did.
Wow, you studied fine art?
Fine
so
art.
What were you hoping to do with a degree in fine art?
Go into the basically the advertising space, because that's what our peers were doing, really. And especially as a major in graphic design, that was the whole idea. And so when I graduated at the time, and this will be telling on my age, one of the radio stations, I'll just say the name, NTV, was just getting their license. And it was a real struggle to get that license. It took almost a year, and that was supposed to be my first job. But what I did instead is that I worked... that wasn't my first job. I worked all through my university years, but that was now my formal job after graduating. And what happened is it took almost a year, I think almost 9 to 10 months for them to get their license. And then that's when we finally got into now getting into formal employment. And that was my first job. And I was a graphic producer with the station at the time. And it was really exciting times. In fact, this is a really reminiscent of, the time we were there. Of course, a lot of things in media has changed. So I only managed to work there for a year. Applied for a Reuters scholarship, which I was accepted into, but it was also the year that I got married, and my husband was not living in Nairobi at the time. So and for some reason I didn't think about the fact that when you get married, you kind of like need to live in the same town, especially in the early years if you're married. So after prodding from my parents and his parents, because I was staying with them, I finally quit my job and did move to Mombasa, and also turned down the Reuters scholarship, which was a 2-year scholarship. But yes, I did make sacrifices as well to be a wife. But what was exciting about that journey is that because my husband comes from an entrepreneurial home, and I had been doing business all through my 2nd, 3rd, 4th year, he just asked me, why don't you just formally register your business and just continue to offer your services and get paid for them, and it'll keep you busy as you figure out what we're going to do when we're in Mombasa. And so that's what I did. And I was very, very lucky because some of the girls that I had graduated with from university were actually in kind of like junior management roles. And they were looking, a lot of these corporate organizations that they had gone into were looking to get out of paying retainers with advertising firms and instead looking direct for creatives. So it was really an opportune and lucky time for me. And so I just got, great corporate jobs at the beginning. And it was a great start to my entrepreneurial journey. And that's, a little bit.
I love that. Say your age without saying your age. When this company was getting its license, yeah? When this album was being released, we all been there, Marianne, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Olivia. My name is Marianne Nyangi.
A shout out to Abby Agina, who said, I can't believe you're getting Marianne Nyangi on your show. She's such a catch.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
All right, Abby, thank you for listening.
No pressure. No pressure. So I can maybe start from my childhood.
Yes.
I grew up in Meru. I'm a Shanks girl, and
She says.
luckily came to Loreto Limuru for my high school. So I think that's what maybe changed or shaped who I am today. I think those nuns really just beat us into
My
shape.
sister was in Limuru for all of 2 terms.
Oh my goodness!
And then she's like, I can't.
You can't. It was too cold. We used to have big swollen fingers. It was just too cold. Who even has a school in that place? But anyway, after that, then we used to have about 2 years before we go into campus. That time, public university for those of us who are not privileged enough to be able to afford private.
Yeah.
So as I was waiting to go into campus, one of my uncles was working for Barclays Bank, and he said, "Come and join in and work as you wait and make some money as you go." So I was posted to Nanyuki at a ripe young age of 19.
19, you're at Barclays in Nanyuki. You
alone.
and Gina Din, same WhatsApp group.
Not knowing even the streets, not knowing nothing, but
Yes.
I had gotten a job. My parents needed the money. My brother was in Alliance, my sister was in campus, so we were like, you know what, let's get some money done. And then luckily came back to Nairobi years later then to do my parallel degree in Bachelor of Commerce.
Yes.
Still at Barclays for that time, and then moved on when banks started whatever. We moved on now to the smaller banks for more money.
Growth.
Growth, yes, because you get more responsibility. Exactly.
Yes.
So I went into FINA, and all this time I was doing mainstream banking, institutional banking, corporate banking, retail banking. Even in FINA, I went to actually set up the NGO and institutional banking, whatever department. And then I got poached into Chase Bank. And I think for me, I keep saying Chase Bank was my best job yet, because I went there to do institutional banking, but after a while, I keep telling Pat this story. My boss tells me he wants to do something for women. What can we do for women?
Wait. We're gonna pause.
Yeah.
And celebrate, right? This ally,
Yes.
this boss of yours who came to you and says he wants to do something great for women.
He wants the bank to be known as a bank for women. So in fact, even this morning as I was looking through my notes, I remember looking at our strategy,
yes,
that we were going to be known as the best bank for women by the year 2018. But a lot of things happened along the way,
yes,
and that dream was not achieved. And after a while, we had a very successful, I think, 4 years of Chase Woman,
yes,
where we managed to get good funding from the IFC. I went to the White House to meet Michelle Obama. I was able to expose our entrepreneurs to very many opportunities,
yes,
from capital to competence to connections, just to be able to meet with each other and, learn from each other. And I think that was one of my most successful achievements to date, and I really enjoyed it. So after that, I went back to mainstream banking, and I still thought what we were doing at Chase Woman has not been done by anybody. So I registered a company called Global Women Connections that could just connect women to capital, to competence, and to each other. So, but of course, I registered it and kept it under the shelf because I was like, the mortgage has to be paid, things have to be paid. Like we did a regular salary. So I did a bit of jobs. I think between there I did CDN and I did Victoria, and then I did another microfinance, and then came back to Victoria for a while, and now just full-time entrepreneur, now doing Global Women and a bit of banking consultancy. So that is my story.
Did you always want to go into banking? When you're in Limuru, when you're in high school, when you were with those nuns, did you think, I'm this life of poverty? No. Right? This vow of poverty, apana. Right? I want to know where the money's at. Is that what you were thinking as you were in high
Interesting.
school?
My dad was a banker, and my mom a home econ teacher. So my sister did home econ and me I did banking. So I don't know if it was in the stars. But when I was back in Limuru, I really wanted to be a lawyer. So I not intended to do banking at all, but it just happened on me.
Marianne, Nyangi, Pat, Okelo, we are talking about how to succeed in business as a woman in Kenya.